All right. Hi. This is Miss Ramos with Can I Ask You a Question? I want to ask you, what does beauty within means to you?
For me personally, beauty within is the way you act towards, yourself and towards people. Because everyone has a different beauty and everyone sees different things. But if you're kind and speak the truth in anything you say, I think that's what beauty is. You're just honest to the world and to yourself.
Good. What about God? What do you feel about God?
The question about God, for me, I grew up Catholic, and I do believe in God, and of how everyone depicts him, and I have doubts on my own, but I still have an open mind of that he might exist and he's there. He's our creator, but I have an open mind of other theories in the world and the evolution of humans. But I do believe that he's real.
So then, do you know Jesus, or have you heard about Jesus?
Yes, I have.
What do you know about him, or what you heard?
He is the Son of God. He is the one that had died for us to clear our sins from this world, and he resurrected, and he's now living in heaven, or with his Father, and looking down on us, a person that had sacrificed and suffered a lot quietly, and we still remember him this day. And there's a lot of doubts and stuff I have about Jesus and what he has done, but overall I still believe that he's there. I just have questions.
Okay. Suicide. When I say suicide, what's the first thing that comes to thought, to mind?
My actions.
What do you mean by your actions?
A person that deals or dealt with heavy depression and anxiety, suicide is something familiar to me. As a person myself, I've had 3 suicide attempts. 2 that left me in the hospital, and they got me Baker acted from those attempts. And it's something that has opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's something that made me doubt myself so much and made me be filled with this hatred towards myself.
So, what was going on in your life at that time when you thought that you wanted to commit suicide?
Well, growing up wasn't hard. Wasn't easy for my whole life, and as a child, I always felt sad, but I never understood, the feelings until I started maturing and going through schools, like middle school, elementary school, high school. The first time that I started thinking of death was middle school. I always felt like I was a nuisance. I always felt that I was bothered to everyone. Felt that I can never please my mother, my father, or be like my older brother and my sisters. And it would affect me a lot because I always felt like I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't kind enough, I was worthless pretty much. And getting into high school was rock bottom for me. High school is where I first attempted, and my 9th grade year was pretty hard. I was just, grieving on my own pain a little too much, and I'm a person that keeps everything inside and smiles each and every day, even if I'm going through hell. I smile because of other people. I don't want anyone feeling my pain, or I don't want anyone going through what I felt. So when I started thinking of killing myself, I always thought that it was right. I always thought that, this is going to be the best idea because no one's going to miss me. No one's going to care about me. And everyone's going to be fine. They're going to forget my name within the week that I died. It was a hard time. And the day that I was doing it, it really hit me. I always had that negative thoughts arising in my head. I always had positive thoughts towards everyone else instead of me. I always criticized myself too much, put myself down too much, and inspired other people with happy thoughts like, yes, you can do it, but I can't. And that day I was crying a lot. Tears filled my eyes every second. I always remembered the worst moments in school, when I would get embarrassed, bullied, or where I didn't understand something. I always think that I was stupid, very stupid, and I shouldn't deserve to go to school when someone else can be smarter than me and take my place. I just hated myself too much. 10th grade year was ninth grade year. Going back, I was home. I had a razor, and I just started cutting. And I was bleeding, but something stopped in me. I don't know why, but I know that this is something I shouldn't do, but I would pray to God to just take me out of this place. Just like, for a long time, I thought he was punishing me. Telling myself he was punishing me, that I did something wrong. And I never could have figured out why or what did I do. And that day that I had the knife and just cut, I just stopped and cried and dropped it. I didn't continue with the act. I just stopped and I cried.
Did you tell anybody that you had done that? That you did the act of trying to cut yourself?
No, I would hide. Like, I'm a person that can hide secrets really well and put on that face that nothing ever happens. No one knew about it until I started hanging out with these wonderful people that now I appreciate so much in life. And I told them, someone I could trust. Her name is just Melissa, and I appreciate her. For a moment, I thought no one would have cared. Because growing up, I would be sad and no one would have cared. But that's when I saw or felt compassion. Someone cried for me, and that really made me feel like a little bit wanted. But then again, that's when I started bullying myself. Like, why are you so stupid? Why you're putting your problems with other people, and now they're sad. You're just so stupid for opening your mouth. You shouldn't open your mouth.
You said you felt that God was punishing you. Do you still believe that?
There's times that I feel like, yes, there's times that I feel like he's punishing me, or, that.
But why do you think he's punishing you?
Growing up, due to the fact that we learned, I went to Catholic school, Saturday schools, and we've learned that, God punishes you, and, you go through trials, you go through a lot of things, situations, because you did something bad. And
So this is something that you learned in Catholic school.
not only Catholic school, I opened my mind up to every religion. I've been to every religion, and that's what they said, that when you do drugs, or when you talk bad about someone, when you judge someone, steal, God will have a punishment for you.
You think there's a devil?
Of course. That's...
You think it could be the devil?
Maybe. I always thought that too,
Okay.
But I just always thought that, why am I going through this if God wants everyone to be good? Why would he let his child suffer with their own mind? Like, my mind was killing me.
The thoughts.
My thoughts, I just wanted everything to go away. It was very hard. That's what I always contemplated, suicide. Just to make everything stop.
What about the second time? How did you come about it the second time?
Again, I was overthinking. I was home.
Every time, was you home by yourself when this happened? Mm-hmm.
There was times that I would, I would always be home.
Mm-hmm.
And because I quit everything I really liked. Everything became pointless to me. So I would stay home. And it would hurt. I would see my friends on social media. Social media, that's something that can start depression as well.
Mm-hmm. What with social media can cause depression? What about social media?
Social media, as a female, depicts females as a person who has to be skinnier, has to look this way, shouldn't have acne, should have straight teeth, should have the most expensive stuff, Vans, Gucci, should have a lot of followers and just be praised, And growing up, that would affect me because I never saw anyone like me. I always thought I was ugly. I still have doubts of myself. I have insecurities. I'm very insecure about everything in my... But that's what social media does. People make fun of you, or you see rude comments from other people, and you feel like there's no hope. I'm not saying that there's not, that everything is like that in social media. There's people that, praise other people, and, people that open their hearts out about what they're dealing with, and other people help out. But despite me seeing all of that, I would always consider that no one still would care for me. I would just be trash. And it was just hard. Just seeing your friends go out and post, but never inviting you. Something I always would say, that I was a background friend, meaning that I was a friend that was always nice, cared about everyone else, but no one would care about that. I was just someone that you would say hi to in school, and that was it. Hi and then bye, and then even though you knew their problems.
So you said that you use a knife. So when you actually did the act of cutting, how did you feel? What was your emotions?
My emotions were just this sadness, and feeling that I deserve this.
So after you cut yourself, was there like a high to it, or?
Not a high, perhaps, but the feeling that, for a lot of people that I've heard that cut themselves, they do it because they believe that they deserve it, and the pain goes away. What they're feeling like inside focuses on, your arm. You're feeling more pain on yourself than your heart or your mind.
So you feel a release.
Yes, like that.
Okay, so how long does the release last after you do the actual act of cutting?
Some people, until like they feel that release until they feel numb again. When the pain just stops in their head and just focuses on their arm. My arm is quite messed up. And I don't regret it, because now that I've gotten older, I just know that this was just a stage for me, not like something that happened, but something that I do regret is the fact that it can affect my career.
When did your parents find out about it? Or when did they realize that there was an issue?
When my parents never really found out, because I was very quick to hide anything. I would always, be happy before they come home, find me crying or me cutting myself. I would cover myself or be just in bed all the time. And resort to cutting, I would cut like on my legs, thighs, and upper arm, rather than the forearm. My forearm, yes, you can see like the right here. It's just a lot. But I would hide it and just pretend, oh yes, I got that from school, or I fell at school, stuff at school. And when they realized I had a problem was the first time I asked for help in school.
So you went to a counselor and asked for help?
Yes. Like, I asked for help at school. Didn't ask my mother because for my family, they believe that depression is something stupid. It's something that you're putting on yourself, that you choose to be happy.
Okay, how does this feel that you're talking to me and telling me about your experience? How does it make you feel now that you're actually able to verbalize this situation?
Well, verbalizing, I feel like a release, that, and I don't feel ashamed due to the fact that this is something that's in the past. I do sometimes feel ashamed of my scars and if I show you them, but, I feel like someone needs to hear this, or, just release the words that I have not spoken or have not talked about to a lot of people. It feels just good that you're doing it.
That you're doing this. So I'm glad that you said that this feels good, because I want you to be able to verbalize and talk to someone when you feel those emotions and those thoughts constantly going in your head to do it. So the next time, those thoughts is always going to come. So what would be a coping mechanism for you to deal with the thoughts? How would you go about it?
Like, since I got out of therapy, something that has helped me a lot, I've learned that thinking of bad thoughts, there's stages that your mind, or in therapy, they call it thinking traps, something that makes you start thinking and overthinking. But if you analyze your thoughts correctly, you can see that everything's okay.
Yeah.
You're just worried about all the situations. You just have to see that the main problem, a thinking trap. And if you analyze that problem and you can find a way to resolve it, you start feeling better. You'll start knowing that, hey, this is my mind, and my mind is just tricking me. And when you learn that trick of learning how that your mind is tricking you, you feel like step at a time, you feel like you can control it again, can control your thoughts rather than overthinking the bad, negative things.
What would you say to someone that is contemplating cutting? What would you say to that person?
Don't do it. It's like a drug. I've figured this out on my own, that when you start cutting, there's going to be a point that you feel like you're doing, a benefit for yourself. And, yeah, you feel like it's relieving the pain. That's great, right? But it's not, because it's like taking heroin. You take it, you feel that high, but then sooner or later you're going to just want it because you want it. You're not going to feel sad. You just want to cut yourself. You want to do it, and then you can't stop. Because some people cut for, that, and some people cut for they cut because they can't stop. It's not that they're going to kill themselves. It's just they can't stop. And it's a hard thing to quit, like drugs. You just continue, and you label that in your mind that you deserve it when you really don't. And it's hell. You go through hell. For me, speaking on my own, that's my opinion. It's just don't do it. It's gonna hurt. Some people regret it later. Some people see it as a past lesson, and some people see it as a new opening.
Do you know anybody else that cuts?
Through all the people that I have known, I have known my god sister and other friends, and despite being like the one who has been through the most serious depression, I'm not saying everyone has gone through serious depression, but for someone who has lived through their suicide, I've known a lot, and I feel like I talk to them. I tell them how, things do get better. For a long time I thought nothing would get better for me. I always thought I would not make it to 18. I would always think that I will die before 18, and I turned 18 2 weeks ago.
Yes, you made it.
And it's crazy, because it's like, through all this pain that I've been through, I always hold on to something. I was holding on to something, and I didn't know why. I started opening my mind more to praying, or just talking to someone, or getting into activities that I used to like doing, but I stopped. And then I would still have downfalls and episodes of depression, but I would just start walking again rather than crawling. I would hurt. I still hurt, of the thoughts of me hurting myself, listening to the most saddest music. And I see that I'm happier. I'm myself again. The girl that you've known since elementary school, the one that always was happy and jumpy and would make the cringiest jokes, but you would laugh at them because, it's just funny. I would always be that girl, and now I see that despite me, learning a lot of things, I changed. I'm still that, I became that happy girl again, and the one that matured, the one that sees everyone as a whole. And I never judge, because I've done stuff, so I judge. I always have my arms open to everyone, and I don't pressure anyone to talk to me. I just wait there, and I'll be with you. Even if you don't want to say a word, I'll be with you, because I always wanted people to be with me, but people to be honest, I would have a lot of people that would leave and would get tired of me when I was talking about my problems, and that would hurt. And I'd never want anyone to feel like that. That's the reason I just smile and I talk to.
What would you say the parents of some signs that they should be cautious or look into if they see their child doing certain things?
Signs they can tell if your child is depressed, it's very hard. Some people hide it very well. It took my mom a long time to know that I was depressed. But signs that you can see are less eating. Like for me, I remember I did not eat for a whole week. I lost quite weight. If you see your child, how do you say, comparing themselves a lot to other people, maybe that they might be insecure about something. Maybe you should talk to them like, hey, how are you feeling? Don't rush into it. Another sign might be, cuts on their arms or legs. Something that you can see cuts frequently on the same place. Staying home a lot. A lot. If you see their eyes puffy every morning, meaning that they might have cried themselves to sleep.